It's the brother Kadash. I'm going to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles of great millstones. Peace, blessings, and honors to all the brothers in this truth. Let's let this play for a little bit. This is pretty much going in on the whole little peace treaty that they have signed, the Arab nations, with the Israeli, and they're trying to get more people to join in. So this was their big deal, their big ideal of world peace, which is really going after world one world order. So it was a historical thing, they say, and they put it together and they signed this like peace treaty. But the Bible clearly tells us, when they should say peace, peace, that pretty much all hell is gonna break loose. So this is time of prophecy being fulfilled, and we seeing it right in front of our eyes, which is a great thing. So let's let this play and then go in on it.
Response to the signing of the Abraham Peace Accords, Palestinian Islamists launched more than a dozen of rockets toward Israel's southern communities, causing both injuries and damage. Iran warns the U.S. not to make a strategic mistake after President Donald Trump vows to respond 1,000 times fold to any form of Iranian aggression toward the U.S.
So he said he will respond 1,000 times fold. And Iran, they're bucking up against them, especially after this little treaty and stuff that they made. Because what's happening is America, along with Israeli, these Edomites are trying to back everybody into a corner to force them into this new world order. So this is like a tweet from Donald Trump. He said any attack by Iran in any form against the United States would be met with an attack on Iran that will be 1,000 times greater in magnitude. So they've been going back and forth talking about they're gonna do this and do that. Eventually, when the Lord green lights it, it's going all hell gonna break loose, man. They gonna be let loose to finally get it on.
United States. The European Union acknowledges that its ties with Turkey are at a crucial juncture in history, which solely depends on Ankara's actions in the eastern Mediterranean in the next several days. Palestinian Islamists launched a barrage of rockets toward Israel's southern communities overnight, drawing Israeli retaliatory strikes against Hamas military installations. The indiscriminatory rocket fire was initially directed at Israeli cities yesterday evening at the height of a signing ceremony at the White House, in which Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain formally ratified the so-called Abraham Accords under American auspices. While one rocket was intercepted above the city of Ashkelon by an IDF Iron Dome aerial defense battery, a second projectile struck a shopping center in the city of Ashdod.
I can confirm to TV7.
See, so they actually started to shoot missiles over into Israel. Some of them got accepted, but some of them actually hit different places and injured some people. But this is only the beginning. This is only the start. This is only like a taste of things to come. It's going to get way worse to where they shooting thousands of missiles over there. And those Israelis, along with America, they going to be shooting back. So that's why we said there's World War III coming soon.
That yesterday rockets were fired from the Gaza Strip inside Israel. As a result, our bomb disposal experts arrived at the scene. To one rocket strike inside the southern city of Ashdod, damage was caused. People took to the ground and went to safety zones very quickly, and heightened security is continuing in order to prevent and respond to any further rocket strikes that could take place.
As a result of the direct hit, 13 Israelis sustained injuries, including a 62-year-old man who was critically wounded. 4 people, including a pregnant woman, sustained light injuries, and another 8 individuals suffered from shock. In response, IDF fighter jets and attack helicopters struck Hamas military targets in the Gaza Strip. The IDF spokesperson's unit informed TV7 that approximately 10 terror targets were struck, including a weapons and explosives manufacturing factory and a military compound used for training and rocket launching experiments by the Hamas terror organization. And while the IDF warned the Islamist Hamas organization of Jerusalem's resolve to protect its civilian communities and sovereignty, shortly after the Israeli bombardment concluded, Islamist Palestinians launched 13 rockets toward the Jewish state within a time frame of approximately 40 minutes.
Damn.
8 of the hostile projectiles were successfully intercepted.
Now, a lot of things to say about that, right? So imagine living there and see America been spoiled, man. They don't see things like that, lights like that coming down and causing destruction, but they are about to. It's coming very soon, you know. But imagine living over there, man. Ain't no peace. You know, they signed peace treaties, but when you look up, all hell breaking loose, man. Said 13 people got injured or something like that, and those people could have got killed. And like I said, this only the beginning of sorrows. So imagine when it heats up and it gets even worse here in a couple months, man. This is what we're saying. And then this goes back to John the Revelator in Revelations. I believe that's chapter 6. You know, towards the end of chapter 6, when he said he seen the stars of heaven fall from the sky. That's what he meant. That's what he was seeing. These lights look like stars in the sky. That's what they look like. And they falling from the heavens, which mean the skies, and they come down, they causing destruction, man. You know, different mushroom clouds. These are small missiles, but eventually nukes and bigger missiles are going to start to be shot off. You know, because every time they attack, well, the Israelis come back and they attack their different sites and stuff like that. And then they come back and they attack. And then they keep going back and forth, and it keeps getting worse and worse. Now, the United States said if Iran attacks them, they're going to come back and strike 1,000 times harder. And if Iran is still around, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to come back and strike even harder. Then America and their allies are going to come back and strike even harder. So it's a back and forth thing, and it's going to heat up and get worse. And you see that it's not just a confrontation anymore. They're actually shooting missiles over there in Israeli. If you're a person in Israel right now, you can't have fun because you don't know when a missile is going to come out the sky and hit down and injure you or kill you. You know, so all hell is breaking loose, man. So this is a great time to have your faith up, you know. But it's funny that as soon as they signed that little peace treaty with the Aramid nations, all hell started breaking loose. Missiles and stuff started to get shot back and forth. You know, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. I'll just get to the point. I started the very first verse. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, right? Because look, we see these times and these seasons. That's why I'm telling you. This is the season. You can see it. You can feel it. You know? Prophecy is being fulfilled. Verse 2. For yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh at the thief of the night. When the Lord actually returns, we don't know when the day is, but we know that this is the season because we see these prophecies being fulfilled at a rapid pace. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction should come upon them. So they said we got a peace treaty, right? So it's peace, it's safety, right? Then what happens? Sudden destruction. Missiles starting to get launched. As travail upon a woman with a child, and they should not escape them. As travail with a woman with a child. So you know, if anybody has ever had like children, and you've been there to witness your wife go through the contractions, you know that they come, right? And then they come out, they come light, sharp pains, and then they get worser and worser, and then they come back faster and faster and faster. So she has to get on pain medicine to endure it, you know. But with this world, that's the same way it's happening. You know, we see light things happen, one thing happen, one incident happen here, and then it starts to happen more rapidly. Then it starts to happen worser. Now you got missiles being shot over there, you know. That's what it's talking about, likening that to a woman that's in pain. Verse 4, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. Because we could see the seasons, we don't know the exact day, but we're not in complete darkness. Because we can see that this is the time that prophecy is being fulfilled, really through the Spirit. But even with the things that's happening, that's showing us, you know, I could go into these things and relate them to the scriptures and show you that this is prophecy being fulfilled. And now you got actual video evidence to see it, you know. So that's how we're not in darkness, you know. We know that this is the season and time, but nobody knows the actual date when the Lord is going to return. Isaiah chapter 47 verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it risen, right? And mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. So they not is this going to end and everything is going to go back to normal one day? No. because they're not going to be able to put this off and stop this destruction from happening. And desolation should come upon thee suddenly, which thou should not know. So desolation, some of these cities are going to be desolate. And Israeli, that land's going to be destroyed. It's going to be desolate. And then Isaiah 60, chapter 60, we're going to, when the true Israelites get back to the land, we're going to bring the other nations in slavery and bondage, and they're going to rebuild up that land, rebuild up our walls. Here, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Right here, verse 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister into thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I had mercy on thee. Thee is talking about Israel. And where are we going to build our walls back? Obviously in our land. Right? Verse 11. Therefore thy gates should be open continually. They should not be shut day nor night, that man may bring into thee the forces of the Gentile, and their kings may be brought. So the other nations are going to bring anything of glory that they have. They're going to bring it to Israel to give to us. That's why our gates are going to be open, right? For the nation and kingdom that would not serve thee. So are our gates open just for them to be a part of us? No, it's for them to serve us. For the nation and kingdom that would not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So are they going to have a choice? No, they're going to be forced, because if they don't, then they're going to perish and be utterly wasted. Here, let me find a precept to that. Revelation chapter 21. Verse 24. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, but the kings, these other kings of the other nations of the earth do bring their glory and honor to it, right? Verse 25, and the gates of it should not be shut at all by day, or there shall be no night there. So our gates ain't going to be shut. Why? And they should bring their glory and honor of the nations into it, because they're going to bring their glory and honor. Anything of glory, any honor. If they got a beautiful daughter, they're going to be bringing her. They got gold, they got silver, they got anything, different minerals. They're going to be bringing it to our gates to give to us, man. But right now, prophecy is being fulfilled. All hell is breaking loose. Let me jump back on that. Jump over here in Job, the 20th chapter. Job, the 20th chapter, real quick. Let me find it. Ah, man. Hold up, because I'm dealing with one hand, Salaki. Job, the 20th chapter. Here we go. Job 20, starting at verse, let's get straight to the point. Verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly, God should cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Right? So this is talking about the wicked. We know that Esau is the border of wickedness. So that's how you put it together. Now, because it says that in Malachi chapter 1, right? You could look that one up yourself. But look, when he's about to fill his belly, what does that mean? Well, when he's saying, okay, we completed the new world order. We got the mark of the beast out there, people getting implant chipped. We got a digital system. Elon Musk got the narrow chip, and people lining up to get that in their brain, and they kind of getting superpowers. They got the vaccine out there. They got peace treaties between these different nations. They got central banks, and they went digital, but they got them all over the world. They kind of run the whole world now. China then bowed down, Russia then bowed down. When they get ready to fill their belly and say, we completed this, God, the Lord's going to catch them slipping, man. He's going to checkmate them. So it says God should cast the fury of his wrath upon them. So he going to let them only get so far, and then he going to throw down on them. And shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So while he's eating and saying, look, man, we did it. We signed this peace treaty, and we finally got it done. The Lord going to throw down on him. And he shall flee with what? He should flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel should strike him through. So that's a cut on, these guys that's talking about ain't no missiles in the Bible. And then I was seeing one guy, he was saying ain't no missiles in the Bible. It's talking about volcanoes, right? It was interesting. He kind of had a point. until it got cut with stuff like this. He should flee from the iron weapon. There's no getting that confused with a volcano that shoots fire and brimstone up in the air, and then the fire and brimstone comes down basically as meteor rocks. You can't get this confused because this says iron weapon. Come on, man. And the bow of steel should strike him through. That's talking about a silo that shoots out a missile, a nuclear missile in this case, and it shoots it up into the sky, and it comes down, and men are gonna hide, and men are gonna hide themselves in dens, and men are gonna be afraid. You know, men are gonna have to hide, man, because if not, they're gonna die. And the ones that do survive, the ones that do have access to those bunkers and stuff like that, well, you know what's gonna happen to them. We're going to come get them when the Lord's kingdom is established. We're going to come get them, bring them to the kingdom, and they're going to bring their glory to our gates. And they're going to be servants and handmaids. Isaiah chapter 14. Right? Let's read a little bit more on this. Verse 25 is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yeah, the glittering sword should come out of his God. Terrors are upon him. And I seen a guy breaking that down. And he was like, what's the glittering sword? He was saying that it's the Lord's angel or something, the glittering sword. No, man, the glittering sword goes back to the iron weapon. He left that part out. He left verse 24 out. So a lot of these men that's trying to go against us, the truth, the One West doctrine, you know, GMS, they know what they doing. They secretly know what they doing, but they would not prevail, man. Let this play a little bit.
Above densely populated Israeli communities, while the remaining 5 exploded in uninhabited areas. Consequently, the IDF conducted yet another retaliatory bombardment against military targets belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The IDF spokesperson's unit informed TV7 that among the targets struck was an underground infrastructure. It further reiterated that the Hamas terror organization is responsible for all events transpiring in the Gaza Strip and emanating from it, and will bear the consequences for terror activity against Israeli civilians. And while Hamas sustained the backlash
you
to
see
the
that?
indiscriminate rock,
You see that? They got striked. That's in the scriptures. Revelation chapter 6. Verse 12, and I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So they try to say, okay, great earthquake, it was an eruption of a volcano, the ash cloud turned the sun black. No, this is talking about nuclear weapons. Why? Because verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell onto the earth. What's going up there in the heavens, in the space? A volcano? No, man. It's missiles that's shot up there, and they come down as stars. They look like stars because they're so high and they're sparkling, and they come down. Even as the fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Verse 14 proves it even more. And the heaven departed as a scroll. So this is talking about a mushroom cloud from the nuclear weapons hidden. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, remember I was saying they're going to hide in the bunkers and the dens and stuff like that. And we're going to come take them out. When the kingdom is established, Israel is going to come take them out and bring them to the kingdom. Right here. And the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich man and the chief captives and the mighty man and every bondman and the free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. And the elect, which is the next chapter 7, talking about the 144,000 elect, is going to be with him, the wrath of the Lamb, and going to be a part of the wrath of the Lamb. You know, when they come back down, like John said, he's seen New Jerusalem coming down to inherit the kingdom. For the great day of the wrath is come, and who should be able to stand? So who should be able to stand? Who should be able to survive? Even though they are going down to those dens and the rocks of the mountains, they're still not going to survive, man. That's in the scriptures. So, you know, let a little bit of this play, you know, salvation to the elect. Shalom. All hell is breaking loose.
Fire directed at Israel, the Palestinian Iranian proxy Islamic Jihad claimed responsibility for last night's aggression against the Jewish state. And while residents of southern Israel are suffering from terror that emanates from the jihadist-plagued Gaza Strip, Jerusalem celebrated the Abraham Peace Accords last night by projecting the flags of Israel, Bahrain, the UAE, and the United States on the walls of its ancient city.
Happy and excited, especially right now when it's been a very difficult and messy year because all of the corona morbidity.
Job 20:23, when he is about to fill his belly, God should cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through.